following is a video presentation of a worship service at Orrville Baptist Church.
Recovering from the time change. Notice I didn't say recovered, because if you're like me, it may take you a day or two to fully recover, but hopefully you're well on your way to recovering from the time change. Good thing it only comes around twice a year, and we'll move on from that. But it's good to see all of you here on this Sunday morning. I hope that you're doing well. If you will, I have several announcements to give this morning, so just flip over to the back of your bulletin, and we'll go through those as quick as we can. Later on in the service, we'll be conducting the special deacon nomination for the one extra deacon that is needed. So I hope that you've been in prayer about that, and continue to be in prayer as we approach that a little bit later in the service. Tomorrow at 5 o'clock, the Linda Hawkins Prayer Group will be meeting in the Hayes Building. So all the WMU ladies are reminded of that. This coming Tuesday, we have scheduled a pulpit committee meeting. I don't know if we'll have it or not. I guess we'll see. So pulpit committee members, if you don't hear anything else, just come to the meeting, and if we decide to cancel that or postpone it, then Brother Frank will let us know. Then this coming Wednesday, we'll have our backpacking time for the food pantry ministry at 6 o'clock. I want to say just how pleased we all were to have such a good crowd on Wednesday night. It's great to see the Hayes building filled up, so hopefully we'll see that again this coming Wednesday, and you're invited to come out and pack some bags. It's amazing how many bags you can pack in about only a 30-minute time frame. Usually we do over 200 bags in that short of an amount of time. So really hope and pray that you'll come out and join us for that. Choir practice, of course, will follow in the choir room. And then this coming Thursday, the Joy Fellowship will start back up again at 11 o'clock in Hayesville. It'll be a covered dish. This will be their first meeting of this year after taking a little break in January and February. So everybody's invited to come out to that, and they always have a really good time. We've received so far $560 towards the Annie Armstrong Easter offering. Of course, you keep track of that over on the whiteboard over here. So well on our way to reaching our goal of $900. So I know we were passing out some envelopes this morning for that. So if you haven't given, please consider doing that. It always goes to a good cause. And if you will, also remember next week on Saturday, on the 14th, we're going to gather here at 1 o'clock, the helping team and anybody else who'd like to come and start prepping our upstairs here for the baptism service, which will be on Sunday, the 15th. We're going to get everything cleaned up real good and prepped and ready to go. We've already been doing a little bit of prep work, but we're going to finish this coming Saturday. So helping committee members should make plans to come, and anybody else who would like to come and help, the invitation is open. That will be about 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon in preparation for the baptism service, which will be next Sunday, the 15th. So we always look forward to being able to observe baptism. We know that there's no saving qualities about the water. It's just regular old water, but we're glad for the picture that it paints, the transformation from death into life. And so we look forward to being able to celebrate that next Sunday. And also next Sunday, anybody that's interested in helping with Vacation Bible School, there'll be a planning meeting at 4 o'clock in the library next Sunday. So if you're interested in helping for that, please make plans to do so. If you will, let's look at the prayer list. Frances Brown remains in the hospital. Karen was telling me earlier that they are moving her to the coronary unit. I guess that is in progress now as we speak. So be in prayer for Frances. She had been on track to go to NHC rehab, but the infection that she's been dealing with for a couple of weeks now has really taken a toll on her body. So just be in prayer for her as she's moving to the coronary unit. As far as I know, Russell Jordan is still in the hospital. This is Tommy Jordan's husband. He was admitted last week, I think last Sunday, as a matter of fact. So just be in prayer for Russell. And then Betsy Oxley, also, as far as I know, remains in the hospital. She's been dealing with fluid buildup problems. She's had this issue before, so just continue to remember her as well, and all these others that we have on our prayer list.
I'm pressing on the upward way, in Christ I'm gaining every day, to bring hands on homeward bound. Lord, let my feet on higher ground. Lord, lift me up
burdens that sometimes are imposed upon us that we have no choice about. There are things that we didn't cause to happen. There are things that we didn't desire to happen. There are things that the Lord just allows to come our way, and this is one of those. And most of us here have heard this story over and over, even when we were children. And back in my day, we had RAs and GAs and all of those things. And the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego certainly was instilled in us because of the importance of it, of helping us know that our God is going to deliver us. And so we can always live through this life knowing that God is aware of everything, even in the smallest, minute details of our life. God knows of it, and He is involved in it, and He is always protecting us. And I know that you're aware that there are angels. There are angels in and around us. I believe that there is an angel that is surrounding and protecting and is here for us. A good study on angels. And I'm not going to get off on that, but I know in my life that I've had several angel encounters. Now you can say, wow, he's weird or something. But I'm just telling you, I know that they were angels. Now, how do I know? I don't know how I know, but I know that if you've had some of those encounters, you know I've had so many near-death experiences, and I don't know why. But the Lord has allowed that. And as we read this passage of Scripture, I just want to call your attention to the background of this, that here, these three men, they are going to die unless they bow to the king, unless the Lord delivers them. And so they are now facing this king, who is an absolute dictator. He has total control. Whatever he says is going to be done. If he says, he's going to cut your head off, they're going to cut your head off. If he says whatever, that's what's going to happen to you. In this case, they're going to be thrown into a burning, fiery furnace. And the king is going to do this. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's read right now. Daniel chapter 3, verse 8. Therefore at that certain time Chaldeans came forward and accused the Jews. They spoke and said to King Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. You, O king, have made a decree that everyone who hears the sound of the horn, the flute, the harp, and the lyre, and psaltery, and symphony with all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whosoever does not fall down and worship shall be cast into the midst of a burning, fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom you have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not paid due regard to you. They do not serve your gods, nor worship the golden image which you have set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in rage and fury, gave the command to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said to them, Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods, or worship the golden image which I have set up? Now, if you are ready at the time you hear the sound of the horn, the flute, the harp, the lyre, and psaltery in sympathy with all kinds of music, and fall down and worship the golden image which I have set up, good. But if you do not worship, you shall be cast immediately into the midst of a burning, fiery furnace. And who is the God who will deliver you from my hands? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said, this was this answer. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O king, we have no need to answer you in this matter. If that is the case, our God who we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace. And he will deliver us from your hand, O king. But if not, let it be known to you, O king, that we do not serve your gods, nor will we worship the golden image which you have set up. Father, give us ears to hear with this message. And as I have since early this morning been desiring that you just use me as a vessel to deliver your message. I don't know why that this image was put in my mind this morning, but a vessel could be, I guess, like a cast iron frying pan. That vessel can be used to fry up some of the best food. And that to serve a meal from that vessel. How good. And I pray, God, through this vessel this morning, that you deliver your message, your food, to us. And that it be good. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen. As you look at this situation, you understand it will be a very, very difficult time in history to live. I cannot imagine some of the things that would be going through the minds of those who serve God, knowing the consequences if they do not do what the King has commanded. We may someday face that here in America. I pray not. But if certain ones keep pressing as they are, they have used the courts and every other system that is available, the liberals have, and they have done what they can through those processes to take out all of the things of God and Scripture from every place they possibly can. It was back when I was pastoring at Dear Memorial Baptist Church in Easley, and I hadn't even thought of this in regards to the sermon to this moment, but Magdalene O'Hare, I learned that William, her son, had come to Christ and had come to be a converted and dynamic Christian and standing against all that his mother was doing. And so I found an address and a way to contact him. I contacted him and invited him to come to our church for a series of messages. And it took a while, but he came to our church, and I got to hang out with him and got to talk with him a lot during that time that he was there, and to understand a little bit more about what his mother was doing and how she did, and etc. And I don't want to get off on that, but it would be a terrible time to live if we had those kind of people in charge of our government. And believe you me, they're trying to get in charge to do everything they can. But here it is, that these three Jews, they are not going to bow. They're not going to worship the image. And I can imagine that what the king has said, that it would begin to create some kind of thing within these men to cause them to have several different concepts of thought. One might be that they would conform to what the king has said. And you and I know that Scripture has taught us. Paul gives us in Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2, that we are not to conform to this world, but we are to be transformed in the renewing of our mind of God and the things of God, to be that we would be acceptable unto the Lord, being in this conforming to God instead of to man. Paul says in Romans 8:28, for whom he foreknew, he also predestinated to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be firstborn among many brethren. And I can just imagine that these three Jews, that they would be struggling in this difficulty of what they are facing. And remember, there's no courts. The king is it. You don't have a federal grand jury or a state grand jury. I don't know if we have county grand juries or not. But I do know this, going back to give memorial again, that one morning in my prayer time, it come to my mind and my heart that I have never had the experience of serving on any kind of jury. And so I just prayed, well, God, if you want me to experience that, I would be honored. Well, it wasn't long until I got a thing in the mail that I had been selected as a jurist for, whatever the dates were, in Pickens County for the county court. And so I responded and went, but I met with my deacons prior to that and told them, and they said, oh, preacher, don't worry about it. Said, there's no way in the world they'll seat you as a preacher. Just don't even contemplate that. Excuse me. And so I went, and just knowing that I would never be selected, but guess what? They got this thing that they spun and pulled out names, and eventually my name come up, and I just knew when I walked up there that I would be sent home, because that's, the judges or the lawyers can do that on both sides. But anyhow, the bottom line is, and they were trying a youth minister, he was accused of molesting a girl in the church, or two girls in the church. And so I knew there is no way they're going to put me as a preacher in that jury. But guess what they did? And I can tell you more about that. But then after all that's over with, I'm like, okay, Lord, thank you that I got to have that experience of sitting in there and going back into to all of our things and deliberation, etc. And so I'm told. Then it wasn't but a few months that I got another letter. This time it was from Columbia, and said that I had been selected as a jurist to serve on the federal grand jury. And I said, deacons, this thing requires that I would be 1 week in Columbia every first week in the month, and I've got to go down there on Sunday night after church, so I can be ready for jury on Monday morning and be there through Friday. And so they said, oh, there's no way. Ain't no way they would seat you in that kind of thing and you being a pastor of our church. And so I go, and they was like, yeah, the people must be selected from that. And again, in the lottery, I was pulled out. And I go up, and then the judge up there, I mean, he had read stuff into the minutes and that we had to agree to. And I walk up there when they finally calls me up. And he goes through all that again with me, and I said, and I said, Judge, I want to plead with you that I can't serve. I'm pastor of a rather large church, and I've got full staff, and I've got ministry, I've got sermons I do Wednesday night, and I just don't know how in the world I can possibly do this. You know what the judge said? Well, Mr. Moody, what's your excuse? Well, I spent a year going to Columbia every first week, But what I experienced out of that was some life-changing about our court system. They said that it was in the days that our president was accused of his things with sexuality, but they said that if we were in Washington, that we probably would be the grand jury that Clinton would have to appear before. So I learned a lot of things about why he didn't, and etc. But here's the deal. These three Jews do not have that kind of court system. The grand jury is really as much for the accused as it is for anything, and you're not trying them, you're trying to find out if there's enough evidence to send them on to court. But these Jews stand there knowing that what this king says is going to be done. And I can just imagine that they're not only tempted in this conforming to the king, but they may just be wondering a little bit in the back of their minds, man, that's a hot furnace. People are dying in that thing. And if we get thrown in there, I know our God can, but is he? Is he going to deliver us? So it might be that they begin to have a question about their confidence in the Lord. Now, some of you have been through some really crises like I have with your health and maybe with finances. I've been in that position too. Well, sometime I'll tell you about my investment in oil. That went belly up. But anyhow, the bottom line is this, that these men, they do not lose their confidence in God. They say, our God, we're not going to serve your God. We're not going to bow before that golden image. We're going to serve our God regardless. So out of all of this that you're going through, here comes a strong testimony. Maybe the temptations that was over here about what they would do and conforming and etc. Losing their confidence in God, maybe that they were so tempted about. But how that God builds a strong testimony in these men. Now verses 17 and 18 says this. If that is the case, our God who we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us from your hand, O king. But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we do not serve your gods, nor worship the golden image which you have set up. In essence, these are mature men. They say it doesn't matter if we are thrown into that fiery furnace, and if we die, we die. He's still God. When I pastored in Lockhart, South Carolina, there was a time when I had taken the kids, and our youth program was growing like wildfire. And I was driving the church van, and we had several cars taking kids with us to go to the skating ring, and now we're on our way back to Lockhart. I don't know if you would remember Susan Smith, who drowned her kids in John B. Long Lake. They built that lake while I was pastoring there. And this is right back up in Monarch as you come out of Union going towards Lockhart. I got that van packed with kids. It's supposed to seat 15. I probably had 25 in there. And the other cars. And Charles Kendrick's one of my deacons, and he also was our county councilman representing our area. And Charles is riding shotgun with me, and we come to a railroad track that goes through Monarch. And there was no trains that I saw or heard or anything, no warning. And as we got just about to those tracks, a black cat ran across in front of the van. And Charles Kendrick screamed out, "Stop!" Man, I hit those brakes. I had kids coming up out of their seats, and I got that van and we up, standing on the brakes. And I thought, man, I missed a train or something, and my heart's up in my throat. And we settled back. Charles Hendricks, he held back and he spit on the windshield. And then he put a big X in it. And I said, Charles, I was real close with him. We then were super buddies. I said, Charles, you done it. What are you doing? And he said, Pastor, I'm marking out the spell of that cat. That takes right much to get me angry, kind of mad, but I was. The stupidity of what he just done and possibly causing us to wreck and everything. And I did children's sermons back in those days. And had a lot of kids that would come sick. So God put in my heart to help these superstitious people that are just not mature in their walk with Christ, including Charles, and about half that church I found out. But anyhow, I set me up a ladder. I got me a mirror and some gloves and a hammer and a trash can. I got me some salt. I got me an umbrella. I got all those things that were kind of superstitious things, and I don't have time to belabor this. But guess what I did? I walked under that ladder, I opened the umbrella, I did all this, and you ought to seen that congregation when I put on my gloves and took that big old mirror, it was an old piece of junk mirror, but I held that thing up over the trash can and broke it. And boy, that preacher, bless his heart. But I'm trying to help them to see the stupidity of the things that we do. And these 3 Jews, they were mature in the Lord. They were not depending upon a rabbit's foot or a buckeye or 4-leaf clover or anything. They were depending upon God, Almighty God, to deliver them. And here's the fact. God does. Look at verse 19. Then Nebuchadnezzar was full of fury, and the expression on his face changed towards Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And he spoke and commanded that they heat the furnace 7 times hotter than it's ever been heated or usually heated. And here they are. 7's a complete number. I believe that furnace was as hot as it could be. You just keep throwing the wood or whatever their source of heat was, and they make that furnace just in a roaring fire. I got a big circle down next to the creek that I made years ago, and I keep the grass out of it, and it's my burn pile. And I have burned, oh man, I love to burn. Wood, no scrap stuff and everything, and clean up around there. I want to tell you, I have had some fires, oh my goodness. And but anyhow, I can just imagine the heat off of this. That here they are. But I want you to note, as these 3 men are thrown into that fiery furnace, they lose something and they gain something. When they're thrown in, I don't have time to go back and read all that scripture again, but when they're thrown in, they're wrapped in like a turban. They're bound from their feet up to their head. They're kind of like a mummy. And they're bound in that. And at the mouth of the furnace, as these 3 men are thrown in, the mightiest men of the king's army are they're called to come and to throw these 3 Hebrews in that fiery furnace. And those soldiers die at the mouth of the furnace. I could tell you a lot about in the Navy, my firefighting training, and how that we would have to do to put out some of the fires. We were having to have 2 other teams to put fire on us, and we all had to learn all of those procedures. But the head guys going into the fire had to have this water coming from the others, or you would die. And how we had to do that. But here it is, that in this fight, these men that were bound in the turbans, in the fire. When you and I go through our fiery trials, and we don't lose our confidence in God, and we just trust God, whatever that fiery furnace trial that we're in, and sometimes it's very difficult, we gain a closer walk in our relationship because we're loose. We see freedom. And then as the king looks in, he says, did not we cast 3 men bound into the fire? And they said, true, O king. And then he says, I see 4 men in that fire. And the 4th one looks like the Son of God. Here they are with God, with them, in the fire. God seldom takes us around the fire. But I want to tell you, when we go through the fire, God will never leave us nor forsake us. He'll be right there with us in whatever the difficulty we're in, and He will give us the fullness of His attention, and we know that we're in the hands of our God. And whatever happens is hilariously okay, because it's God's will. It'll be for our good, and it'll be for His glory. And here they gain that close walk with the Lord. Thirdly, I want to finish this with verse 27. This is how these men now are, that they're brought out of the fire furnace. Verse 27, number 1, the fire had no power. Now, you know what it's like to get burned, don't you? The other night, when our son-in-law's birthday, we always try to take everybody out. But anyhow, they wanted to go to La Fogata. We really like to go to La Fogata, Mexican restaurant too. And the waitress, everybody we know them, we've been in there so much, and they know my son-in-law and his family, our daughter, and daughter-in-law. But anyhow, poor old waitress, she was finally getting our food to the table. They were so busy in there, and she had on a hot plate. You know how they bring them in smooth, they're so hot. And she burned her finger. And oh, bless her heart, and I was trying to explain to her, put ice on it, sweetheart. That's the best thing in the world you can do for a fire, is quickly get ice on it and hold that ice, and it'll hurt, but it'll help with the burn. But anyhow, she just with touching that plate, she got burned. In fact, I remember yesterday morning, my wife, when she cooked our breakfast, she brought the biscuits straight from the oven and set them on the table, and I picked one up. Didn't take me long to turn loose on it. And I'm still a little bit tender right there on that thumb. But fire will burn you quickly. But they're delivered with no hurt because the fire had no power in it. Verse 27, nor was a hair of their heads singed. I got to tell you this real quick. We're firstly married. Now, I was stationed in Mayport, Florida. We got an apartment in Jacksonville, Florida, and it was a garage apartment, huge garage apartment, about the size of this platform. And the kitchen was so big to below, this had a table that flopped down with a leg under it, and you set it up, and then you couldn't get on the other side. And it had a little old apartment stove, and my wife's going to cook me some biscuits and whatever, I don't remember, but I know she wanted the oven to cook the biscuits in, and she said to me, Broadus, light the oven. I never heard of an oven you light. Other than the wood stove we used to have, especially my grandma, boy, and you talking about cat head biscuits that are good when they come out of an old wooden stove. But anyhow, she says, light the stove, light the oven. I don't know how to light it. And so I'm looking, and she says, you got to turn on. So I turn this button around, and she handed me some matches, and I don't want to be acting dumb because, I'm supposed to know everything. And so I'm down there, and I don't know what to do. And I smell something. And we're newlyweds, so I don't say anything. I'm just looking in that oven. And I finally decided, well, I'll strike this match, and surely I'll find out what to do. And so I struck that match. Boom! It burned. It singed the hair up my arms. It singed around on my face. It singed a little bit of my hair. But thank God I had it greased down with wild root. If I'd had all this hairspray on like we do now, I'd have went up in a ball of fire, I guess, and probably wouldn't have any hair. But here these Jews are. These Jews, not even a hair on their head was singed. I'd like to tell you how we used to singe hair on chickens when we kill them. I ain't going to do that, but it'll help you not, I'll tell you sometime, maybe it'll help you not eat the skin off of the chicken, though, that they got that hair, that's bit. And then verse 27 says, now were their coats changed. That means there was not even a burn or a scorch on their clothes. And then it says, and this is the last thing, nor the smell of fire passed on them. You get around smoke, it will immediately attach to whatever garments you have on or whatever's in there. I've served with the Easley Fire Department for many years as their chaplain, and every time I'd go to a fire during the night, and they never called me out unless it was really something serious as death or someone burned very badly, that I would end up going to the hospital or to their home and ministering to them and ministering to the firefighters. Because when they find some of those things, it really bothers them. But anyhow, every time I come in, my wife would say, if it was 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, she'd say, Broadus, please go hang those clothes outside. Why? Because that smell of smoke was in the clothing that I wore. Used to, and it's still kind of, you go into a store where they're smoking, and I get back in the car, and my wife would say, oh, you've been smoking again. Well, I've never smoked in my life. I couldn't, but it was easy because it smelled that way. But here these guys are so delivered that not even the smell of smoke is on them. Aren't you glad we have such a God that we can come to with whatever and not have to fear tomorrow? What does tomorrow hold? As a matter of fact, what does the next minute hold? We don't know. My grandmother Moody, and built a new church, hadn't even got the pews in yet, just had chairs. On Wednesday night, my grandmother Moody stood up to sing and fell dead. Right there in the church. I've been in a church in a conference where the preacher walked out of the pulpit and died right there in the altar. I've been in churches where that we call the EMS several times. But somebody right in the congregation having a heart attack or something. You don't know. You get in the car. You don't know. I don't know. But I do know this. My God is in control. And I can depend on Him. Hallelujah. Father, thank you for this week.